The first time I truly understood I was the black sheep, I was 7. My brother, Liam, who is 3 years older, had just won some regional science fair. My parents threw him a celebratory dinner with his favorite meal, beef Wellington, which I hated. I sat there, pushing a rubbery mushroom around my plate, and my mom snapped, "Can you, for once, not make everything about you?" This is Liam's night. It was always Liam's night. Liam's soccer game. Liam's piano recital. My role was to be quiet, to not cause trouble, and to exist in the background. When I brought home a painting I was proud of, it was met with a distracted, "That's nice, honey." When Liam got a B+, it was a crisis requiring a tutor. I learned that my voice, my interests, my very presence was an inconvenience. The abandonment wasn't a single, dramatic event. It was a slow, suffocating erosion. By the time I was 13, it was complete. My parents were going through a messy divorce, and I became the convenient scapegoat for all the family's stress. The final straw was a party Liam threw while my dad was away on business. I didn't go, I was in my room, reading. But when the neighbors complained and the cops showed up, Liam blamed me. He said I invited my friends. My dad, exhausted and looking for someone to punish, believed him without question. I screamed the truth, but my dad just looked at me with this cold, tired disgust. "I can't deal with you anymore," he said. A few days later, he sat me down. He'd spoken to my mom. They'd both agreed. They couldn't handle my rebellious phase. I was going to go live with my aunt in a small town 3 states away. "It's for the best," my mom said, not meeting my eyes. "For everyone." Liam just stood there, smirking behind my dad's back. That smirk. I'll never forget it. My aunt wasn't cruel, but she wasn't warm. She was a widow who hadn't signed up for a traumatized teenager. She gave me a roof and food, but that was it. I felt like a ghost in her house. I was alone. That's when survival mode kicked in. I realized no one was coming to save me. I had to save myself. I threw myself into school. It was the only place I had any control. I got a job at a local diner when I was 15, washing dishes and then waiting tables. I learned to be invisible, to anticipate needs, to save every penny. I discovered a knack for coding in a high school elective. The logic of it, the clean cause and effect, was the opposite of my messy family. My teacher, Mr. Davison, was the first adult who ever looked at me like I had potential. He stayed after school to help me, lent me books, encouraged me to enter a state competition. I won. I remember holding that small trophy, and for the first time, I felt like I wasn't nothing. I got a full-ride scholarship to a decent state school for computer science. My aunt came to my high school graduation, but my parents? Not a word. No card. Nothing. I didn't expect it anymore, but a tiny, stupid part of me still hurt. College was my rebirth. I was no longer the black sheep, I was just another broke student grinding away. I started a small web design business from my dorm room. By the time I graduated, I'd saved enough to launch my own software startup with a friend. We built an app that, against all odds, took off. We sold the company 3 years later. I was 25, and I was a millionaire. My life now is calm, successful, and mine. I have a small, beautiful apartment in the city, a rescue dog named Calcifer, and a quiet sense of peace. The drama started with a LinkedIn notification. A connection request. From Liam. I almost choked on my coffee. I stared at his name, a flood of 17-year-old pain washing over me. Curiosity killed the cat, and I accepted. Within an hour, I got a direct message. It was syrupy sweet, full of "I've been thinking about you and we should catch up." I didn't respond. Then my dad found me on Facebook. Then my mom. It was like a dam had broken. The messages became more desperate, more insistent. The tone shifted from "we miss you" to "we heard about your success, we're so proud" to, eventually, the truth. My dad had made some bad investments. He was facing bankruptcy. Liam, it turned out, had a gambling problem and was drowning in debt. My mom's new husband had left her with nothing. They didn't want me. They wanted my money. The final confrontation happened at a coffee shop. I agreed to meet Liam, I think because I needed to see his face, to hear him say it. He walked in, looking older and more worn than I expected. The smugness was gone, replaced by a nervous, ingratiating smile. He started with small talk, but I just waited. Finally, he leaned in, his voice low. Look, we both know things were messed up when we were kids. But we're family. And family helps each other. I just need a loan. A small one. To get back on my feet. I looked at him, and I didn't see my brother. I saw the boy who let me take the fall. I saw the golden child who was now tarnished. Alone, I repeated, my voice flat. Yeah, he said, hope flickering in his eyes. I know you have it. I do, I said, standing up. But you're right, I have it. I earned it. Every single penny. You and Mom and Dad? You lost the right to any of it when you threw a 13-year-old girl away. This conversation is over. His face crumbled, then twisted into the old, familiar anger. But I didn't stay to see it. I walked out, my heart pounding, but my head clear. It was the most powerful I'd ever felt. In the middle of this family storm, there was a quiet, unexpected calm. Ben. He was the one who handled the acquisition of my startup. He was a corporate lawyer, all serious suits and sharp arguments. We should have hated each other. During the grueling months of negotiation, we were on opposite sides of the table. But one night, after a particularly brutal 16-hour session, we ended up at the same bar. We started talking, not about contracts, but about everything else. He told me about his love for old jazz records, and I told him about my dog. It turned out he was kind. Genuinely, deeply kind. He listened. He didn't try to fix anything. He just listened. Our relationship grew slowly, outside the chaos of my family drama. He was the one who held my hand when I told him my story, and he didn't flinch. He just said, that explains the look you get in your eyes sometimes. A few months after the coffee shop showdown, Ben and I were at my place, cooking dinner. Calcifer was asleep at our feet. My phone buzzed. Another text from an unknown number. I was about to ignore it when I saw it was a picture. It was a Christmas card photo of my mom, dad, and Liam, all smiling like a perfect, happy family. The caption read, "Wish you were here. Miss you. Love, Dad." I stared at the photo, a familiar ache blooming in my chest. Ben, sensing my shift in mood, put down the knife he was using and wiped his hands. He came over and looked at the phone over my shoulder. "They still at it?" he asked softly. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He gently took the phone from my hand, set it on the counter, and pulled me into a hug. I melted into him, my face pressed against his chest. He didn't say anything. He just held me. After a long moment, he pulled back and looked at me, his eyes warm. "So," he said, a small smile playing on his lips. "You want to block that number and go finish making the world's most mediocre carbonara with me?" I laughed, a real laugh, the kind that chases the shadows away. I looked from him, to the dog, to my warm, safe kitchen. Then I glanced at the phone on the counter, the screen now dark. The ghosts were on the other side of that glass. But I was here. In my life. With my family. The one I chose.